All right, so now, let's see. I selected a little bit less of it to delete from my creature layer. So there's a little bit of knee overlap there. So that when I use the back leg and I actually stretch it a little bit like this, I have a little bit more overlap of it in case I need it. Right? So joints, it's good to keep the joints in there so that you can use them. Like now, oh, his leg can go all the way around. Woo. So that's how you can build good assets for yourself and cut them away from the core. Now, what else do I need? Eventually, I need to get this to just look like a rock, right? I'm definitely going to need to get this back claw. Make it its own asset. Call it the far claw. And then I need to erase it from the base image. Whoops. Select inverse and erase. There we go. And I need the head. So anywhere there's a joint, you want to make that its own asset. So I'm basically kind of making a paper puppet, a little grommet puppet. Give me things I can pivot with. Select inverse. And delete from the original. Okay, this isn't quite looking like a rock yet, right? But I don't want to do too much more. So maybe I need to build this up and actually put more stuff here. So I might even go to some other assets. So some of my creature reference and the rocky shell reference. And I might use something to kind of fill it in. Maybe this. Remember, my stage matches the resolution of my assets, so I need to make it fit this resolution, even if it's not as large as it could be. Cut this out. Select inverse. And duplicate it. There we go. Delete that. I'm going to run this behind my creature core, and I'm going to have it fill up this other space. Like so. Maybe I take all of this flesh stuff and I make it its own asset too. I'll call this the belly flesh. Select around it, select inverse, and delete that from my creature core. Right now, that looks a little bit more like some sort of rock. Might need a little bit to flesh it out. And this is building the assets that are going to be really helpful to me throughout the project. Do a quick refine edge. Okay, good. And then select inverse and duplicate. And I run that behind. Maybe sharpen this a little. Because my feathering for my refine edge was set for a higher resolution image, it softened this a lot. Not that I need it to be all that soft, but so that will sharpen it back up. Okay. Remember, we using all of our compositing tricks. Warping, scaling, dodging, burning. All of these things we need to make things match. So while I have them as individual components, these different rocks, I don't want to keep them as individual components because I'm going to be animating my character on top of them. So I can pretty aggressively dodge and burn them and then bring everything together. I can even burn my core if I need to. And erase little things out that are distracting. Okay, now I'm going to merge all those together. Select those, merge them. So keeping your assets clean. So that's now my core. And that allows me to build this creature coming out of it with a pincer that moves. Now what if I want to move the jaw up and down too? I do the same thing with the jaw, select it as its own layer, and just cut it out from the one piece, make a duplicate. Right? Duplicate it. Select around it. And delete it from the head. And that allows me to close the mouth if I want to and animate with the mouth. Tasty and delicious. He looks pretty cool with his mouth closed, so I might do that. Now if I want to tighten it up, I realize what I can get rid of. But I'll do that when I need to, frame by frame. Okay, so now I've got these all labeled, all separated out, and these are my true creature assets. I'll call it my creature puppet assets. So that's one way. That's a way where you have really tight control of each one, and I'll show you how as I start building. So I'm going to move all of those into here, and I'm going to call these just the creature shadow assets in case they come in handy at some point. Show all these things behind him. All right, let me save my work. I've built a lot of assets there, even though it doesn't look any different. I have them all in separate layers. Now, what can I do? Well, this is what's kind of neat. So I'm going to pose this creature in different positions, right? So first, this is what he looks like in the first frame. Just a rock. Kind of a weird looking rock. So I can bring that over. I can select it all, copy it, bring it onto my stage as an asset, and place it somewhere. And that's basically my first frame, right? Next, what happens? I'm going to show his belly come out. And I can decide how much of that belly do I want to show at a given time. Let me see, if I do the belly and then the back leg. I think maybe a claw first. Yeah, maybe the belly and then the far claw. Okay, so now this will be an asset. So how do I show this? Well, I have to hold down Option, say Layer Merge Visible with everything else turned off. Command A to select all, copy, and then paste. And then I place him directly on top. So I have 2 frames now. Photoshop does this nice thing of locking the pixels. It's aligning it, and if it's not kind of locking them for you, go to View and make sure that your snap is turned on. And then I don't need this combined layer anymore. So I'm going to delete that layer. Remember, keep your assets clean. Now the head pops out. No, maybe not the head. I'll leave the head for a little while. Maybe the far claw. No, maybe the foreground claw and the pincher. But maybe the pincher, let me duplicate that and close it, is more pinched this time. So I'll call that pincher 2 or pincher closed. And this one, pincher open. And I also want that back leg to come out. But maybe I want that back leg to be a copy and to be pivoted a little bit differently. I can even shrink it a little, distort it, like so. Okay, so this will be my next frame. So what do? I go to the top, I say Option, Layer, Merge Visible, select all, copy, paste in, move it to lock. So now notice, within my frame, that pincher isn't even visible. So let me take all 3 of these layers and move them a little bit. So I'm going to move them up to here. Then let me see